first grade. Today we're going to work on the first phonics skill for Unit 5, Week 6. And the story of the week is called The Stone Garden. It's a good story. It's also the last story that we're going to read together on the Pearson website. We're going to be doing things a little differently after this next week. So let's enjoy the story. Okay, so it's called The Stone Garden, and today we're going to work on the first skill that you practice on page 173, and the skill is called a prefix. But does that word sound kind of familiar to you? Do you remember the word suffix? Let's review what a suffix is. A suffix. Remember these words? Words that describe what a person or a thing does. Remember this first word? Sailor. So we took the base word sail and we added a suffix, the OR, which means a person that sails, sailor. And I know you can read this one. When we add the ER suffix, we're telling you about a person that teaches, and we call that person teacher. So that's our review lesson. Today we're going to learn about prefixes. Prefix is the opposite of suffix because a prefix comes before the base word instead of after. That's what pre means, before. All right, let's look at the two prefixes for today. The first one is un. Can you read what it means? Un is the same as not or the opposite of. So when I put un in front of a base word, I'm changing the meaning. It can mean not, or it can mean the opposite of. Let's look at the word I put in parentheses. Unhappy. Un means not, or the opposite of. Unhappy means not happy. You understand that. Here's the other prefix we're going to practice today. Re. And what does re mean? Well, it's the same as saying again. And look at my examples. Review. We just did that. We reviewed. We looked at suffixes again. We've already looked at them, and we're looking at them again. So I call that review. You've heard me use review a lot because we review so many things that we've already learned in first grade. Do you read this next one? It says retake. So the base word is take, and re means, again, retake the picture. Retell. Can you use that in a sentence? Retell. I want you to retell the story. Re means again, tell the story again. So now we're going to use a T-chart to separate our prefixes. Some words with the un prefix, and I pronounce it un, U-N, and some words with the re prefix, and I pronounce that re, R-E. Okay. Here's my T-chart. You know I love these. I love to sort. Okay, so let's look at the left side. The left side is practicing the prefix un. What does un mean again? Well, it either means not or it means the opposite of. Let's try it out. Can you read that one? Unpack. I put the base words in black today. Unpack. Now, it doesn't mean not pack. That doesn't make sense. We don't want to say do not pack. We want to say the opposite of pack. So if I told you to unpack your suitcase, that means it is packed, and I want you to take everything out. If I say do not pack, that means you haven't done it. So remember, not has two types of meanings. It's a prefix that can either mean not or the opposite of. Okay, and remember that we're adding our prefix to a base word, a word that can stand alone, or it could have an ending on it, or it can have a beginning on it, and a prefix is a beginning to a base word, and it's its own syllable. Unpack. Did you hear that? 2 syllables. Unpack. And un is its own syllable. Now let's move over here to re. What's my word? Can you read it? Repack. So I use the same base word. What does repack mean? Go repack your suitcase. It means to pack again. You know that. Repack means to pack again. Let's try it with another base word. It'll be the same base word here and here, but let's understand the meaning. Read the word, unzip. Read the word, re-zip. To unzip means to do the opposite of zip. It doesn't mean not zip. It means the opposite of zip. Zip it up, zip it down. Unzip. Now let's look over here on this side. Re-zip. What does re mean? Again. Zip it again. Let's go to the next one. Can you read it? Untrue. Un means not. It doesn't mean the opposite of now. I can actually use the word not. Something that's untrue is not true. And actually it is the opposite too. I just had to make sense of that myself. Something that's untrue is also not true. Something that's untrue is the opposite of true. Okay, now let's go over here. Did I use the same base word? No, I didn't. Because now we're just going to try the prefixes without the same base word. Did you read that one? You probably see this in a lot of places, maybe even in your own home. The word is recycle. To recycle means to use something again. And we try to recycle water bottles, things that are made of plastic or glass or aluminum. Recycle. Use it again so we don't have as much trash in the world. Okay, next word. Unplug. Unplug it. Don't plug it in. Unplug it. It's already plugged, so unplug it. The opposite of. Remake. Remake. Can you remake your bed? When you made it the first time, it didn't look good. Remake it. Okay, re means again. And here we go. Read it first, and then I'll read it. Unhelpful. What does that mean? Well, it's the opposite of helpful. If someone is unhelpful, they're not helping, they're causing problems. It's unhelpful when you argue about your place in line. Be helpful. Okay? Be helpful at home. Don't be unhelpful. Don't be not helpful. And the other side, you read it first. Rewrap. Can you rewrap that present? It doesn't look right. It doesn't look neat. Wrap it again. Okay, now I'm going to flip my chart and we're going to read some words and sentences. So I'm taking my chart down and I tried to use spelling words this time so you can get used to using your spelling words when you read and you write. Okay, number 1. I wrote the important words in red. And do you remember what they're called today? Not a suffix, but a prefix. A root word, I don't usually call them root words, I call them base words, but that's actually what it means. A base word with a beginning syllable that changes the meaning of the base word. Number 1, I can untie this knot. What does untie mean? It means the opposite of tie. Number 2, I'll run my finger under it while you read it. Okay, now I'll read it with you. I will undo the work I did. And I put a little dot here. I didn't have room to finish the sentence. I will undo the work I did when I got the problem wrong. So when you have something that's wrong, you can undo it. Use your eraser, right? Erase it and do it again. I will undo the work that I did. When I make a mistake, I can undo it and do it again. Kind of like redo. Number 3, you read it. And this sentence, I gave myself more room on the next line. And now I'll read it. I will repay the money she gave me. Repay. That means to give somebody back money that you borrowed from them or that they loaned you. So you give it back to them. I will repay. I will take money again and I will give it back. I will repay. Have you ever borrowed donut money from a friend and then you paid them back? That's called a repayment. Okay, number 4. I'll refill the glass of water. Refill means to fill again. Did you see the contraction? Did you read it? Instead of saying I will, I said I'll. Okay. Number 5. It's a question. When you read it, say it with expression. Can you retell the story? Can you retell the story of Alexander Graham Bell? It's a true story called a biography. Can you retell it? A good reader makes sense of what they read, and they can retell what they've read. Number 6. Unkind words are mean. Meaning the opposite of kind. Unkind words are mean. Don't use any unkind words. Okay, friends, thanks for joining me today, learning about prefixes, and I will see you soon because I'll be teaching the second skill later on.